not live.
It's working.
Okay. So welcome to Accounting Information Systems. Everybody looks familiar from familiar faces from different places, if you will. But welcome to fall semester and to Accounting Information Systems. So feel like everybody already knows me. Professor Marvin. This is my fourth year here at TU. This is, I think, my third time teaching this class. So each semester kind of brings about a different change or a different little tweak. This year I'm using a slightly different textbook that I really like, especially some of the later chapters that we're going to get into, some data analytics and some awesome things in Excel. So that's kind of exciting for me. But that won't be for a few weeks yet. But the textbook, it seems to be a lot, to me it's a lot better than the textbook that I was using. So again, as we kind of go through the semester and I kind of get some feedback from you guys, if you could just maybe kind of bear that in mind, let me know what you think about the textbook. I have no idea what's going on with this thing. There we go. So today what we're going to do is just basically kind of go through some of the administrative things of the class, go through the syllabus, kind of get the groundwork laid today, so that we can kind of continue on and have an awesome semester. So Moodle looks a lot different, at least for me in my classes, than what I've used it for any class in the past. So for those of you that have had an online class, it kind of looks and feels a little bit more like that than just a document repository, which is all I've ever really used it for in my other classes. So what you'll notice is that when you log in, it's going to automatically drop you into week 1 until Sunday of this week. Then it's going to drop you into week 2 and on from there. So when you log into Moodle in the class, it's going to show you this is what we're going to be covering this week. This is the reading assignments. This is kind of what we're covering. And then here in the activity section, this is any assignments that are due. So let's kind of rewind just a little bit and go back instead to start here, which is where you'll find kind of the welcome and, of course, syllabus and kind of that introductory information. So this class is kind of it is a prerequisite to auditing, which most of you will probably have Professor Faber in the spring semester for. So some of this class is kind of designed to get you ready for that class, which is more about information systems, internal controls, how things are set up and established. So you're probably your first, there's only a few 400 level accounting classes. This is one of them. So now you're thinking, okay, senior level accounting class, my last accounting class, okay, minor in accounting, okay. No debits, no credits, no calculators. Really not much in the way of financial statements. So it's a very different accounting class. But I guess because I feel like I know all of you, I kind of jumped over your own introduction. So maybe we should rewind just a second and just go through real quick and just name major or minor, coolest thing you did on COVID quarantine or whatever. There's something interesting about you. Something kind of interesting about me. A few of you know. Dustin in particular, Nathan as well. I'm a runner. So I was sharing with my managerial class earlier today that I had a lot of them in spring semester. And so when spring semester started in January, I'd canceled a few classes because I was going to be going to Boston and running the Boston Marathon in April, which then got postponed to September. And then I was going to be going in September. And now instead, I'm going to be running a virtual marathon, which means run 26.2 miles wherever you want to be, and log into this website and put in your time, and you've now just run a virtual marathon. So what I thought I was going to be doing in April, then thought I was going to be doing in September, instead of running with 30,000 people in Boston, I'm going to be running by myself somewhere around Tiffin and end up at my house when I get done, which is going to be totally awesome and very similar to downtown Boston. So, I don't know. Anyway, okay. COVID, you know, the wrinkles are endless, right? So go ahead, Courtney.
My name is Courtney. My major is psychology, human services, and my minor is in accounting. And what's interesting is that I adopted a cat during quarantine, and she turned out to be pregnant. So now I have kittens.
Oh, that is...
5 cats and 2 dogs.
Whoa. So if you're looking for a cat...
I've got 1 kitten that doesn't have a home. It's a boy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Lots of pets. I have a few siblings that got dogs. We got rabbits. Yeah. One of those things, I guess. But we only have 2. Neither one was pregnant. We're trying to keep it that way.
I'm Jamie. My major is accounting and my minor is marketing. And I did a lot of traveling over the summer.
You did what over the summer?
Traveling.
Okay.
I went like canoeing and me and Lamar went to a bunch of like different parks and
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Good. Cool. Thank you.
I'm Sarah. I'm a double major in accounting and finance with a human resource management minor. I don't know, I work out a lot more than what I used to. Like, I've actually stuck to a workout being stuck at home, so,
Yeah. Breaks up the monotony.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, sir.
I'm Salim Abdulhani. I'm from Saudi Arabia. It's my 3rd year here. My major is accounting. In the summer, I stay home. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they want with COVID.
Yeah. And that's what I kept saying in spring semester is like, I feel like I'm living such a unique story and I just have to tell somebody about it, but everybody's going through the exact same thing. Everybody's stuck at home and like doing Zoom calls. So, like, I'm not special, but man, it feels like so unique, but it's the whole world. Yeah, it's so bizarre. But go ahead, Harley.
I'm Harley. I'm double majoring in accounting and finance, and I paid my car off recently.
Awesome.
You happy about that?
Yeah. Anybody Dave Ramsey fan? Everybody ever heard of Dave Ramsey? He's like a finance guy that's like super anti-debt, and so he has like this call-in talk show on the radio. And so people call in when they pay off their mortgage and they're officially debt-free, and they get to yell on the radio, "I'm debt-free," and then they, do this big pomp and circumstance. And so, yeah, it's awesome. Getting out of debt's very cool. Good job. Go ahead, Dustin.
I'm Dustin. I moved to an apartment to go run over break. So lived here. Ran 18 miles by myself, but I'm not sure if I could run a marathon by myself. 26 sounds a little bit.
Yeah, it'll.
I'm gonna say a little bit, and then probably
Yeah, I just know it's just confirmation I'm crazy. So, yeah, I'm a little weird.
So what do you run when you practice for that?
I follow a program. I do 3 runs a week. One day's kind of like sprint intervals. One day's like a tempo, kind of like a faster pace, and then like a long run. And so I only run like 30 miles or so, 35 miles a week. Like some programs are like 50 or 60. And I just, like on my long run, I'll just go out in the country by our house and then loop back and get a drink and then go into town and loop back. And so I just kind of like do these spokes. And yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
I'm Stanza. I'm an accounting major and a finance minor. And I got my motorcycle license this summer.
Huh.
And motorcycle.
Cool. Harley? Honda?
No. A Suzuki.
Okay, okay. Cool. Go ahead, Nate.
I'm a double major in finance and accounting, and I got to go skydiving this summer.
Oh boy, where at?
Capital City skydiving in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay, okay. Cool. Was it awesome?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
I recommend that too.
Yeah, that would take quite the courage. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, and I know in a room of familiar faces, I kind of forget that often. So, yeah, it'll be a much different semester than what we're used to, but again, glad to be back on campus. So, here in Moodle, we do find a copy of the syllabus, so we'll spend a majority of today kind of bouncing around on this. So first off, you guys all got the email about your classes and kind of that split session, if you will. So if you have any larger classes that you're in, maybe you go on Tuesday, maybe you go on Friday. This class, because the enrollment is less than, I think we counted them the other day, less than 18. Okay, there's a few folks not here today. What we're allowed to do is just meet every day, every scheduled class time. So you won't come on Tuesday or Friday, you'll come on Tuesday and Friday. And so that'll make it a little bit easier from my perspective, and kind of we won't have to be doing those hybrid activities that you might be getting familiar with in some of your other classes. My name, my contact information. My office is in the Huth House, which is, we could rename it the Accounting House. Professor Faber's downstairs, Dr. Gilreath's upstairs, and I'm upstairs. There was a management professor that was next door to me, but she relocated. So right now the upstairs is just accounting. There's a psychology. Dr. Appel, he's downstairs too. But need a couple more accounting instructors, and then just call it the numbers house or something. My office phone and cell phone number there. I always have my cell phone with me. I don't always have my office phone with me. So, I mean, it's there if you want to call my office sometime. But ever need to get a hold of me, probably email or cell phone's better. Shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call, whatever you need. And as far as office hours go, that the office hour sheet that you have, that's kind of like what we're required to do as instructors, furnish you with a office hour schedule. What you'll see in Moodle in that Start Here section, just below the syllabus, you'll see a PDF of that handout that I just gave you, office hour schedule. You'll also see these 3 other buttons, okay? What those are is, because of the pandemic, we're being encouraged to have virtual office hours. So again, reduce face-to-face contact as much as possible. So what you'll see here in Connect, or in Moodle, is these collaborate sessions. So what you can do on Monday or Thursday from 9:15 to 11, or Tuesday from 10 to 11, or Tuesday after we get out of this class until a little bit after 2 o'clock, you can go into Moodle, you can click that link, and I'll be sitting there in my desk waiting for you, okay? Just join in. It's just an open collaborate session. Any of my students this semester can access that session. So it's kind of designed to be just like office hours, right? However, as all of you should know or realize from, I've had most of you in other classes, is that I'm around, I'm here. This is what I kind of had to set up for this. So if you want to do a Zoom call or a Google Hangout, even during my office hours or some other time of day, just shoot me an email, let me know. and we can get that scheduled and get that taken care of. You need to miss class for whatever reason. Again, hopefully this technology works out and I can be posting videos of classes if you need to miss for whatever reason. But if you want to have a little follow-up or whatever, anytime, just shoot me an email, give me a call, let me know. All right, so after that, just kind of a course description as well as some course learning outcomes. So again, this class, although an accounting class, it's going to feel almost more like a IT class, more about systems and processes and how we do things and why we do things. So as we go through the class, we'll be talking about different things that businesses do, but I want you to kind of keep in mind like those experiences you've had where there's been like chaos all around it. That's the lack of a system. That's the lack of a process. And I know yesterday, even in oil and gas, Sarah was sharing a little bit about her intern experience at Marathon and sending out some high dollar wire transfers. And she was kind of saying like it was almost uncomfortable. Like here I am sending out millions of dollars to these companies or whatever. And that's part of why Marathon says, yeah, go ahead, whatever, because they know that the process and the system is in place that Sarah can't be wiring money to herself. The system won't let that happen. So they're okay with the fact that, Sarah, TU intern, is sending out millions of dollars of wires because the system is such that she can only send it to the right places, or those reviews and checks and balances are going to be in there. And so we'll get into some of that as we go. So some course learning outcomes, what we're trying to achieve this semester, be able to describe, articulate the role and purpose of accounting related to accounting systems, apply rules of accounting transaction processes. So what we're going to do is, did you have 210? Analysis of accounting processes or whatever, right? Where you had like all those manual journals and everything that way. Okay. So what we're going to do in this class is kind of dissect each of those processes: cash receipts, cash payments, fixed asset purchases, and look at the processes and the review processes that are in place. We'll also, as the third bullet, examine the business processes: sales and collection, acquisition and payment, other business processes, that conversion process of like a manufacturing company. What are those controls in place in those processes? Identify the critical components of audit-related items as it relates to information systems. So again, kind of building you up so that you have some ideas about how things work from that audit perspective, so that when you get into your auditing class, you'll have a little better idea of what you're actually looking for and looking at. Okay. So textbooks. So a couple things on the textbooks. First up, we have Accounting Information Systems, and that's available through McGraw-Hill Connect. So when you're in Moodle, I was kind of too late in the game when the publisher made me aware of something. So it's a little bit clunkier than what I thought it was, or what I had hoped it was going to be. On the welcome page, under the syllabus, we have course tools and resources, okay? The AIS textbook is the Accounting Information Systems textbook, okay? We also have an additional textbook, and that is QuickBooks by McGraw-Hill Connect, okay? My understanding was that if I tell the bookstore that I want you guys to have this special program, I could have 16 different books for this class, and you guys would pay like $80, okay? That was my understanding. That's not the case with McGraw-Hill. You guys pay like $80 through your student account through the bookstore for Connect for this class. I only get one title. I was already too far down the tracks when I found that out. So QuickBooks, so we have kind of like this mix, okay? The AIS textbook is already like included, okay? But so it's, yeah, anyway, click the link for AIS and that will look and feel just like you've seen through Connect for other classes, okay? So everybody familiar with Connect? Like intermediate? No. Okay. Yeah, because you didn't have intermediate, right? You didn't. Okay, because it's just an accounting minor.
Is this the Learn Smart and homework, and then QuickBooks is its own thing, right?
Right.
AIS is Learn Smarts and homework.
Right. So we kind of, what we're going to do is, again, this is, I'm just switching to McGraw-Hill for this class for the first time. And so the nice thing is that both textbooks are McGraw-Hill. So it's going to look and feel pretty much the same for you guys, but just know that the two textbooks are actually kind of like different setups through Moodle and the book publisher. So it's a little bit different, a little bit clunky, but like you guys are juniors and seniors, this would be no big deal, okay? So the nice thing, have you had other classes with Connect or not really? Okay. So basically all it is it's an electronic copy of the book. So there is no hardcover book to buy for the class. It's all electronic. If you'd like to buy the loose leaf 3-hole punch textbook from the bookstore, it is available. It's like $20 or $30 or something is what I've been told. Okay? So you can buy that, throw it in a 3-ring binder, make your notes, do whatever. If you just want to use the ebook, you're good. Okay? All the homework and all those assignments will be right through the website from the publisher. So you don't have to submit anything in Moodle or turn anything in class. It's all electronic. So when you go into Connect, let me just switch over to what you would see. You'll see all the assignments related to the AIS textbook for the semester, okay? Starting with the Learn Smart that you can start last week, but it's due Saturday at noon, okay, this weekend, okay? So you'll notice that all of the assignments, these two that are in 2 of my classes, they broke the mold. This was not supposed to happen. The reason I picked Saturday at noon was because of all the potential of having to go to remote learning like we did in spring, and then the classes kind of going in that, kind of online mode. And so at first, like everybody, I thought, well, I'll just have all the assignments due on Sunday then at midnight. Then I was like, well, no, that's what everybody's going to do. So if these students have 5 classes with assignments due Sunday at midnight, that is a terrible way to spend Sunday. Like that, no, I would hate that. So I thought, okay, not Sunday at midnight, then what, right? So then I said, okay, how about just Saturday at noon? Then it's like a little different time, kind of breaks it up. Hopefully it kind of helps you with your time management. Maybe it's a royal pain in the butt. Sorry if that's the case. But that's kind of the plan. You'll notice, too, that the homework assignments are locked. Okay? So what that means is that you can't get into the homework assignment until we do our lab day. Okay?
I work at the Hem, and I don't really have much to do, so I was like already starting to Learn Smart, and I was like, well, I can't do the homework.
Yeah, so that was kind of by design on my part, so that what we're going to do is we look at the schedule, we're going to have a lecture day session, and then we're going to have a lab. So the lecture day is going to be all about definitions and vocab and kind of getting up on the new lingo. And then the lab day is going to be like a preview of the homework assignment with different names and numbers and places and ideas, but kind of like, let's work together on the homework, and then you guys go home and do your homework assignment on your own. Okay? So what I've set up is that you can't get into the homework while we're sitting here trying to do it together, because I want you to do it together and then go do your own thing. I don't want you to do your own thing while we're trying to do it together, right? So, I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. All right. Anyway, that's the way it's set up. Okay? All right. So, that's kind of the preview into Connect. So, the other aspect is that we also have our QuickBooks. So for you, it's going to look and feel pretty much the same as the Accounting Information's textbook, but just know that it's slightly different. So when you click on QuickBooks McGraw-Hill Connect, it's going to take you here instead, okay? So what you're going to have to do is follow this link to get registered, and then this will be the way into the QuickBooks book, okay?
Okay, one more thing. I got told that QuickBooks does not work on Apple products. Is that still true with this? Or is that like gone away from the system?
So I believe that is true, but on this QuickBooks companion site from the QuickBooks textbook, I didn't look at it a ton. There is a section about QuickBooks in my Mac.
No, it's not a problem with me. I just wondered.
Oh.
Okay, so like I have another like desktop computer at home.
Yep.
I was just wondering if I needed to use that versus my laptop. It doesn't matter for me. I just wanted
Yeah, it would probably be better. It would probably be better.
Okay.
Yeah. And QuickBooks is on all of these computers as well.
So I'm curious about the QuickBooks with the app. So I just have an app laptop.
Yeah, I did not. What I know for sure is that the desktop version. My understanding is the desktop version doesn't work on a Mac, but I did not. I saw that there on this companion website, but I haven't really checked it out. So what I'd encourage you to do is go on there, check it out, but also know that QuickBooks is already on all these computers. So you can, and also like, I know there's not as many around, right? But like in Gilmore, those computers have it on it. I don't remember, I don't think they put it on that computer lab in Maine, on those computers. But are there computers in the library for use? It's on that as well. So like commonplace computers and this classroom all have it on it, okay? And so, and QuickBooks, we're not going to start the QuickBooks element right away. We're going to kind of get up and running on the AIS stuff, and then what we're going to do is as we kind of go through the AIS areas, we're going to then kind of cover that through QuickBooks as well. So when we're looking at making cash payments or cutting checks to vendors through the AIS, we're going to look at how does that function in QuickBooks. And so we're going to kind of do that parity as we go through the semester. So we have a little bit of time to kind of work through some bugs on the QuickBooks side of things. But yeah, I would check it out and kind of come up with your strategy.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because when I was working with the lady for my internship,
Yeah.
at Overflow, like she does it online because she uses an Apple,
Yeah.
but like I never thought about it not being able to do a desktop.
Yeah, and that might be all they're saying there is just use the online version. And they might have some like tips and tricks in there on kind of how to make that work. Because also out here is the like the data files and things that you'll need to kind of access for the homeworks related to the QuickBooks. But we won't get too far into that today. Just we have time set before those assignments are due for that. But no, that's where you want to kind of one-stop shop to get into those areas. Not only the textbook, but also these other resources that are available. So that's all just right here in the starting here section of Moodle. Okay. All right. So yeah, so what I'm hoping is a few things is that in the past for this class, the textbook that I was using didn't have a good online tool. So like students had to like print things, and like even with QuickBooks, this is a different textbook for QuickBooks because I've had QuickBooks in the class before. And you won't have to like you'll export some things, and then you'll drop them into Moodle, and then you'll go into the companion through Connect and answer some questions, and then you're just like done. So I'm hoping that that will be a little bit easier, and a little bit like smoother for you guys. The other thing that we'll talk about as we go is there is also a QuickBooks certification that you can take. So in the past, I've kind of like pushed that and encouraged students to take the certification at the end of the semester. I've never really had much participation, so I've kind of it's still available. You can still take it in this computer lab at the end of the semester. This textbook will get you ready to be able to pass that test pretty seamlessly. It's about $120, at least last fall it was. So again, just kind of like Marathon doesn't use QuickBooks, and neither does Tiffin University. So why would I say? Well, because it's another badge on your resume. And so regardless of where you go, the more badges, the more credentials that you have, the better off you're going to be. If you're kind of leaning towards public accounting at all, even kind of like small town, Tiffin kind of stuff, QuickBooks, a lot of the customers that, like your internship is maybe a good example of that, where the company's using it. And so if you want to be able to help those companies, if you have some knowledge of how that software works, there you go. You can really deliver some good value. So again, just something else to bear in mind. We'll be talking about it more as the semester progresses. Be prepared for class. Be here. I already took attendance. Again, the nice thing about this class is I know everybody, so attendance is just pretty quick. I also jotted down kind of like the seating chart. So again, with kind of the COVID precautionary things. And of course, we're all creatures of habit. So I know you two kind of heard most of this spiel yesterday. But when the university kind of suggested, highly recommended that we use a seating chart, I was like, these are college students, and I have to tell them where to sit? Like, this sounds like second grade. But then I was like, well, when we go to a faculty meeting with all 80 of us here on campus, we all sit in the same spot, even though we only meet once a month. We all go, when we met face-to-face, we'd meet in the Marion Center. It was like this horseshoe. And School of Business would sit on the wall that kind of, like with our backs to the pale. And then Arts and Sciences pretty much would sit across from us. And then the U of the horseshoe was like CJ. And Professor Miller and Professor Fritz, like IT guys in the School of Business, they kind of sit towards the front of the horseshoe on the School of Business side. And then like Rhonda, Andy, and I, we kind of sit towards the curve of the horseshoe. And we all sit in the same spot. We're creatures of habit. So the fact that we kind of need to stick to a seating chart. Like if I didn't tell you there was a seating chart, I don't know that anybody would even move around. So I thought, okay, yeah, whatever. We'll keep it. We'll kind of have it as a record in case we need it for contact tracing later, and we'll get on with life. But again, it is important that you're here. It's also important that you're not here if you shouldn't be. So if you come in contact with someone that's a confirmed case with COVID, whatever the case might be, shoot me an email, let me know. We'll work through that. Otherwise, as far as the points go in Moodle for attendance, attendance for our class is worth 100 points. So all of you, if you go into Moodle right now and look at the grade book, you will see that you have 100 points for attendance because you've got 100% so far this semester. Skip on Friday, and your score will be 50 points. Okay, that's just the kind of the way it works in Moodle. So if you ever need an attendance report for like a coach or an advisor or something, just let me know, and we can take care of that. So the COVID policy from TU, basically, I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with it at this point, having some classes yesterday or today. I didn't check my email in between classes. Is the app back up yet? I don't think it is. Like the health assessment thing wasn't working last I saw. Oh, you did? Okay. Well, we're gonna kind of skip that for now, but we're gonna need to be doing that.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay. Then we should probably.
I'm taking it right now.
Yeah, we probably should just, if you would, just take a second if you haven't done it for today. And
I'll make it crash. Should we go scan that barcode thing too?
yeah, we should. We should. Again, it's just like, it's a bummer, but it's the right thing to do. So, yeah, let's take care of that. Thank you, Courtney. Uh-oh. This is going to be the test for this thing. Like when I walk by it with this thing on. Like really, oh yeah, look at that. It's going.
Oh, this stuff.
Okay. It's probably so it doesn't like,
Wrap around.
yeah.
Fall off.
Yeah, like strangle itself with the power cord, right? Okay.
So is that thing like registered to like you?
No, there's a few of them that we have on campus, and so we can check them out and use them. But yeah, so they sent out the email, and I was just like, so the part of the reason that I'm using it is that it saves me from situations where I have to with more and more student absences due to COVID. I have no problem going over things with you, but when I have like 6 students in a day, that just kind of like, I spend more time one-on-one than I do in class, and so that makes it really hard for me time management-wise. So I'm going to try this as a way to kind of try and supplement that, and then so like in a class, if you happen to need to miss for whatever reason, I'm going to encourage you to go watch the video for what you missed, and then let's have a Zoom call, or let's have a conversation about what didn't make sense to you. You weren't in class to be able to ask your question when we did this, so now let's take that opportunity. But I don't have to take an hour with all 6 of those students to say the same thing over and over and over again. So that's kind of how I'm using it.
Let's say I pass my health thing.
Yep.
Like I don't pass it. Do you get notified that I didn't pass it to where it's excused, or like how does that work?
No. So what I do, what will be, everybody just did it, and I saw everybody just do it. But what we'll do is we'll like start a class, show me your green check. But if you're in that situation, you need to send me an email. That's the protocol. And so you need to send me an email and all your other instructors. And then what I do with that email is I forward it to Dean Sullivan, and that's a way to, so that it's kind of like just from me to one other person, and then the COVID, kind of like the COVID committee kind of manages that.
Is it COVID community?
Unfortunately. Yeah, so they're kind of like tracking the cases, tracking the student events, like how many students have been tested, do we have any positives, and then they're also kind of responsible for that contact tracing.
So are they responsible for like if we go back to online? Like, are they the ones that kind of like make the decision on whether like, okay, like,
Yeah, they're gathering information about what's happening on campus, and then ultimately that would be like President Schumacher and
presented to somebody?
Dr. Holbrook, right.
Wondering how all that works.
Yeah. So again, you guys have had me before, but just as a reminder, if you're willing to send me an email and say I'm sick, I'm willing to send you an email a mile long and help you with anything that I can, okay? So if you think you have a symptom, let me know. If you can't make it to class, let me know. Part of that system, too, of me forwarding on to Dean Sullivan is so that you can stay anonymous. You share it with whoever you want, but just know that the university's not. And if you need something, we can help you out with it. And so all of that management is kind of filtered through Dean Sullivan. So when we get into like FERPA and confidentiality and that privacy, that's the only email, that's the only communication that's going to go outside of you and I. And it's because the university has said that's how we're going to handle it when it's a COVID case or potential COVID case. Sort of thing.
For, like on campus, because like a girl that works with us at the HEM, she has it, but she lives off campus, and like how we're supposed to get like rave alerts and stuff for that, but like no, I don't think anybody got rave alerts for it.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the two things that are happening, right? Is that we have like the student side of life and we have the employee side of life. So I have to do things as an employee. You have to do things as a student, but you also have to do those things as an employee. So, that would be, she would fall under just like the employee side of life. And yeah, I haven't seen any
And like
alerts
Purple
either.
House tested positive for.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't seen anything else either. So, as you guys all are already, we have to wear our masks. We need to social distance. So, there's times when I'd rather that we got into a small group when we're doing a lab and 3 of you get together and you talk about something and here's the things we're going to work on. You guys are going to be doing this one. You guys are doing that one. So we're going to just have to be kind of more like a large group most of the time. But we'll get through. If you want to disinfect the computer, the desk, or anything, there's supplies up here all the time. So use them as you see fit if you want to take care of anything that way. All right. So attendance by athletes. Again, if you have an away event, an away competition, cross country might be the only thing that's actually going to maybe happen. We'll see, Okay. Okay. Yeah. So again, if you, I was happy to see you, Nathan. Really. Nathan's former swimmer here at TU. So yeah, I have a couple equestrian riders in one of my other classes, and it's just such a bummer, right?
I forgot when I got canceled.
Yeah.
They got rid of it. They got, like, all permanent.
Yeah. But I guess, good news, bad news. Still going to graduate, still going to be on your way that way. And, who knows? I mean, again, kind of more managerial kind of ideas. At least we still do have cross country, and we still do have other sports teams, and at least we're open and we're having class, right? So my niece was she graduated from a school in East Kentwood in Grand Rapids area, Michigan. She was going to go to Howard University in Washington, D.C. to study accounting, and I'm like, hey, yo, yoo-hoo. She's like, no, I want to go to the school in D.C. I'm like, Tiffin's kind of like D.C. I mean, come on. So she was supposed to move in this last weekend, just like all of us or all of you. And she got an email like Friday, about 10 days ago, that they were going remote. So we're here. We're for now. Nobody knows, right? I mean, that's the one of the multitude of things we all learned in spring semester. Who knows what tomorrow's bringing? I mean, really, let's be real, right?
A lot of schools are different too. Like my brother goes to Bowdoin Wellness.
Yeah.
And they literally have to take their temperature every morning before class. Like somebody else has to see their temperature before.
Yeah. Everybody's handling it differently. I know where our kids go to school here in Tiffin. They're starting later this week. They have this iPad thing that everybody has to get in front of it, and if you don't have your mask on, it won't take your temperature, and yeah. So again, it's just the other element here is that this is the system, right? We're trying to mitigate. We're trying to keep the virus over here, right, and kind of locked up, right? That's what we're going to talk about in this class. Is how do we keep fraud? How do we keep embezzlement locked up? How do we not expose our company to these risks? It's the same kind of an idea. So Tiffin University has developed a system. It happens to include masks and the app and other things. And so that's all in a way to try and help get the result that we want, having classes. Academic honesty, obviously. I want to know, I need to understand what you know, what you're learning in the class. I need to know your work and see your work. So if I ever feel like that's not the case, I'll be taking it up with you at that time. But hopefully that's something that we don't need to work through. FERPA, I already kind of hit on that a little bit. I'm not going to share anything about your academic performance or your email or anything. Although, if we happen to make it to a cross-country meet, if it happens to happen, and we're able to spectate, and I bring my family, I might mention to them that I have him in class, okay? But I won't tell. They can look at the program if they want to know your name. I won't tell them how you're performing in class. I might critique your running a little, but not going to share your academic performance or anything with anybody. All right. Let's see here. Moodle, more on the tech support side of things. If you need help with that, there's information there. Because of the setup with Connect, I would just ask you all to log into Moodle, get those connections made. Sometimes in this class, because we are kind of doing it two different ways with two different textbooks in the same class, I called the publisher and I was like, but I don't want students to have to do this. And they're like, yeah, we can't do anything about it. I'm like, ugh. So test both of those links if you could, like today, tomorrow. If any of them aren't working right or you're having trouble, let me know. I can get you in touch with McGraw-Hill Tech Support or give you like a few ideas that might be able to help out. Email. The best way to make sure that I get your email is to send it from your TU email. Usually not a problem, but if you ever send me an email from like your Gmail or your Yahoo, it might get caught by our firewall. Our system may not let that email through. Again, a system in place. Technology, everybody's got a computer in front of them. We'll use them at times, not a ton, more on like the app stuff, but just be respectful, ringers, notifications, that sort of thing. Non-discrimination. I'm not going to discriminate against anybody in the classroom. I just view you all as students, so if you feel like that's not the case, feel free to take it up with me. If you don't feel comfortable taking it up with me, there's information, contact information here for Dr. Fantini on campus. If you had a disability accommodation in spring semester for additional test time or a note taker in class or anything whatsoever, just know that that accommodation expired in spring semester. So each semester you need to get that renewed. If you feel like you might need some help with something, or you know, maybe you have some sort of reading problem or whatever the case might be, don't feel like you can't reach out to Disability Services here on campus. They're there to help you. The only thing worse than seeing a student struggle in a class is a student struggle in a class and not get the help they need, because we're all just too proud to do it, right? Get that help, okay? Anybody an accounting tutor in the Murphy this semester? Anybody in here? No? Okay. I was just, you know, like giving you guys props like an hour ago, if any of you were in that position. So just another resource for like underclassmen. Veterans, any veterans? No? Okay. Over by the coffee shop is the Veterans Services Center here on campus. All right, so assignments and grading. So as we kind of already alluded to a little bit, we're going to have 11 chapters out of the information systems textbook that we're going to cover. We're going to have assignments like homework, end of chapter. We're also going to have Learn Smarts for each of those chapters. We're also going to have 10 chapters in QuickBooks that we're going to have kind of like end of chapter assignments for. We also have chapter 12 and 14 in QuickBooks that are kind of more like a comprehensive problem. So those are kind of ratcheted up a little bit to each be worth 50 points. So a total of 100 points, 10% of your grade in those two assignments. Otherwise, we're going to have 3 tests over the course of the semester. I got really creative, test 1, 2, and 3. Each of those worth about 12.5% of your grade. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and jump around, but if you go to the last page on the syllabus, what you'll notice there is week 15 in our course calendar, if you will. That's our last week of class. So as long as we're still face-to-face, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we will meet in here. We'll have class. We'll do a lab, so kind of like a pre-homework exercise about information security and computer fraud, as well as the merchandise case, the big one, chapter 14, the big case for QuickBooks. After class on Tuesday, we'll all go home for Thanksgiving, and nobody will come back to campus then. Okay? So final exam week will all be remote. So just like any other finals week, sometimes you have a presentation and it's early, and sometimes you do this and it's that, whatever. This class, we're going to have a test in Moodle during exam week. And that's going to be test 3. It's just going to be over the last few chapters that we've covered. All the tests are only over the AIS content, okay? So QuickBooks is designed just to be kind of like a supplement None of the tests are going to cover QuickBooks content. And so because the final exam is going to be through Moodle, I thought, okay, I know what spring semester was like when all of my classes got a Scantron for test 1, and then in my one managerial class, okay? So we had class, I'm trying to remember, did we have class on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we were shut down, I think, is the way that kind of went? Yeah, it was like middle of the week. Because if I remember right, in my one survey class, like literally Tuesday after spring break, right? The last class that we actually had, I came into class and I was like, hey, did you guys hear there's this school out in Boston? Like, hey, all right, Boston. And they just went to online for the rest of the semester because of this COVID thing. Like, can you believe schools are already starting to do this? Like, so quick and so fast, and like, they're changing and all this stuff. And then like Wednesday night, email, President Schumacher. Next 3 weeks at that point, right? We're online. And I'm like, oh, huh. We're part of the club. And I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I know my wife, she goes to Harvard in Boston.
Yeah.
The first school to shut down sports.
Okay.
And she got told at practice
Huh.
that there was no sports, and she had 3 days to go home and move all her stuff out of the room.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it was just like on the dime, right?
They were one of the first.
Yeah. So then my one class, we had a test on Friday. And I'm like, wow, what am I going to, like, yeah. So then I went to Moodle and I got this test set up in Moodle. Like I hadn't printed it yet, I don't think. I don't even remember if whatever, right? So what we're going to do this semester is all of our tests are going to be through Moodle, okay? So what you'll notice when we rewind and find test 2, which is in week 11, okay? So week 11, our seated session. So the other thing on the course calendar is because we're less than 18 or whatever we are, and we're going to meet face-to-face, what you can do on your syllabus is cross off seated session. You can call that Tuesday. You can cross off hybrid and call that Friday, okay? That's our schedule, okay? The reason that we had to go with this as the schedule is in the event that we have to go to remote, in the event that we have to split the session, so that there's consistency and continuity for you from class to class. Try and make it a little easier to manage. But seated session is Tuesday, hybrid is Friday, okay? The only caveat to that is in the event we have to go back to remote learning. If we have a replay of spring semester and campus gets shut down, what does that mean? Well, based on the feedback from spring, what I was doing, and I know if some of you may have been in intermediate with Faber, is that we were doing collaborate sessions when we would have been in class anyway. That's what I did with all my classes. So whenever we had class, log into Collaborate, we're going to do what we would have done, and on about your day. The feedback the university got from students, I don't know who they surveyed, but whatever, was that 2 sessions a week where you have to be online at this time, it was too much. The schedule, it was just too much of a hassle, too much of a pain in the butt for students. So, in the event that we go back to remote learning, seated session will still be Tuesday at 12:30. That's going to stay, and that'll be through Collaborate. The hybrid activity will go to online on your own, okay? So part of my juggling act as I was putting together the schedule was I really wanted to keep the seated session always as whenever there was a lab where we're going to be like going through stuff, that's going to be on the seated session day. The hybrid activity it might be a test, it might be, most often it's going to be a lecture. So in the event that we have to go back to remote learning, The hybrid sessions will become on your own at your own time. I'll record a lecture. I'll post it out on Moodle. That'll become our hybrid activity, okay? But as long as we're on campus, hybrid is Friday, okay? Does that make sense? Okay? So, again, yeah, my juggling act, you know, there is some intentionality behind this as we go. So the test 2 is the hybrid activity for week 10. So that will be a Moodle-based test. So even if we're face-to-face, even if we're still on campus, that Friday we won't have class. Like probably Thursday afternoon, you can log into Moodle and take the test anytime as long as it's done by Saturday at noon. Okay, but we won't actually have face-to-face class if we're still on campus. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. You'll notice at one point we also do have a guest speaker scheduled. Guest speaker in week 9. That is probably going to also be like a Zoom call for us, because the speaker from Marathon, I don't remember his name. He came last year to one of my other classes. He agreed to do like this class, which I didn't have him come to last year. But what he talked about in this other class, I was like, you should come to my AIS class, because that's really what you're talking about. So he came to oil and gas, and so he agreed, but he was kind of nervous about being on campus, so I was like, well, let's just do a Zoom call, and so that should work out pretty good.
Marathon right now is still remote, like they have on again, off again weeks.
Okay.
for their group,
Okay.
What department you're in.
Yeah.
So you may only be there one week out of the entire month.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
August. They're
Yeah.
still doing that from what I understand.
Yeah. So that's scheduled. As long as that doesn't fall apart or I can't backfill it or something, just know that one too might be like a remote session. We'd probably still kind of like schedule it like around class time for like a Zoom time, but we'll wait and see. We'll see what tomorrow brings, then we'll see what the weekend brings, and then when it gets a little closer. All right, so that's kind of just what I wanted to hit on the test side of things. Overall, the class is worth 1,000 points, so we're all accounting minors or majors, so we're pretty good at math. If you want to get an A, get at least 900 points. We just went over how you can get that. If you want a B, get at least 800 points, and on from there. We don't have any other assignments or other things to kind of go over. We kind of already kind of introed the course calendar and that. So again, I guess just kind of, if you would, over today and tomorrow, get logged into Moodle. Get logged into those textbooks, make sure that the links are working. Maybe start to check out the QuickBooks companion site if you have the MacBook potential problem that way. As far as just what's due coming down the pike, Learn Smart Chapter 1 is due on Saturday. Otherwise, we'll have our lecture kind of introing that on Friday. And I think that's it. Any other, I know you guys were kind of jumping in with questions. Anything else as far as questions go? Everybody good? Okay. Well, thank you. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on Friday.